Honestly, my childhood friend was genuinely stunned. Not because of my personality change alone, but because of the things I was saying. The investment directions. Future technology. Artificial intelligence. 3D industries. Digital media expansion. Every single topic sounded far too advanced for the current market. It was almost like I was speaking from 10 years into the future. And technically, I was. As I calmly explained future possibilities, her gaze toward me gradually changed. From indifference to seriousness. Still, after remaining silent for a while, she finally spoke again. Chi-Yun. Her beautiful eyes looked directly at me. Even if your ideas are impressive, that still isn't enough reason for me to place myself and my family on the line. There's no practical evidence. I wasn't surprised. If anything, I would have looked down on her if she agreed immediately. Business wasn't based on dreams. It was based on trust and benefits. And fortunately, I had already prepared my trump card. I leaned slightly forward. How about I save your family first? The moment those words left my mouth, her expression froze. Then she stared at me like I was mentally insane. Honestly, I immediately realized I phrased that horribly. A few days ago I was still publicly simping for Lu Ruyan. Now suddenly I was saying dramatic things like I'll save your family. Even I felt embarrassed. I coughed lightly and quickly calmed myself. What I mean is, I took out a prepared file and a USB drive from my briefcase before placing them on the table. Read this first. She looked at me suspiciously. Still, after a moment of hesitation, she opened the documents casually. At first, her expression remained calm. Then slowly, her brows tightened. A few seconds later, her face completely changed. Shock. Disbelief. Then finally, fear. The contents of the file detailed internal collusion within her family company. Financial transfers. Secret agreements. Illegal communications. Her own relatives secretly working with outside forces to bring down the family business for money. The more she read, the colder her expression became. A terrifying pressure slowly spread from her body. At that moment, I finally understood something clearly. Although she was elegant and beautiful, she was also ruthless. The type who wouldn't hesitate when necessary. After several minutes, she finally raised her head slowly. Her voice became colder than before. Where did you get this? I calmly pointed toward the USB. Additional evidence. There are recordings, employee lists, financial trails, and the identities of the forces cooperating with them. Her fingers tightened slightly around the file. A faint murderous intent flashed across her eyes. Honestly, if those traitors were standing here right now, she might genuinely kill them herself. After a long silence, she finally exhaled slowly. Fine. We'll cooperate. But the partnership details must be discussed with my father, grandfather, and your father as well. After all, this affects the future of both companies. I smiled lightly. That's exactly what I wanted. Then, something unexpected happened. She smiled. Not the polite business smile from before. Not the cold smile given to acquaintances. But a genuine one. Soft. Warm. The kind given only to someone truly trusted. For a brief moment, even I became slightly absent-minded. Meanwhile, far away, the investment system inside Yefan suddenly began malfunctioning. Ding. Processing abnormality. Searching. Searching for correction path. Unlike the first opportunity involving the Western District land, this time, the system reacted violently. Because the first opportunity could still be judged as recoverable. Even though I obtained the land, Ownership had simply transferred between parties. According to the system's calculations, Yefan could still potentially seize benefits from it later through manipulation or pressure. But the second opportunity was completely different. This opportunity connected directly to major future events. Influential business figures. Future alliances. Political resources. And most importantly, the third major opportunity tied to Yefan's fate depended on this second opportunity succeeding first. If the second opportunity collapsed, the path toward the third would become extremely difficult. Which meant, the system's predicted future had begun deviating heavily. Inside his apartment, Yefan frowned while staring at the floating system interface only he could see. The screen continued flickering repeatedly. Calculating. Unknown interference detected. World rule restrictions active. Unable to determine source. The system continuously attempted to calculate possibilities. But due to early-stage world restrictions, its abilities remained limited. After several moments, the notification slowly disappeared. Yefan frowned slightly. For the first time, a trace of uneasiness appeared in his heart. Still, he quickly forced himself to calm down. What am I worried about for? He sneered confidently. I'm the chosen one. With the system, ruling the world is only a matter of time. Soon afterward, he hurriedly went to meet Lu Ruyan. He still wanted to ask about the Western District land's situation. But the moment he saw her, his expression froze. Yesterday, Lu Ruyan still looked elegant and graceful. Today, she looked completely exhausted. Her eyes were red. Her makeup slightly messy. Her expression pale and haggard. The proud daughter of the Lu family now looked like she hadn't slept for days. Yefan's heart immediately sank. What happened? The moment she saw him, her emotions completely broke down. Chi-yun. He really cut us off. Her voice trembled. All the projects stopped. Our company accounts are being investigated. My father was taken away for questioning this morning. Our family is finished. Tears finally streamed down her face. Only now did she realize. The warning I gave her before was completely real. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Then suddenly, she grabbed Yefan's arm hopefully. You said you'd help me, right? You said you'd take care of me. At that moment, Yefan's face immediately became ugly. Take care of her? How? His biggest beginner opportunity had already been stolen. He didn't even know what happened. And now the Lu family had become a giant collapsing burden. A disaster waiting to drag others down. For a split second, disgust flashed through his eyes. Then he violently pulled his arm away. Are you crazy? His tone turned sharp instantly. How can I take care of you when I can barely take care of myself? You think I'm some charity organization? Lu Ruyan froze completely. As if unable to believe the person who spoke confidently yesterday had changed this quickly. But Yefan no longer cared. At this moment, he only felt one thing. Danger. The Lu family now resembled a leech covered in blood. Anyone close to them might get dragged down too. Without another word, he turned around and stormed away immediately, leaving Lu Ruyan sitting there alone in complete disbelief. Inside a soft luxurious bed, Yefan silently stared at the ceiling. For the first time since obtaining the system, he felt lost. Things were not supposed to develop like this. His life was supposed to be glorious. He was supposed to become the center of the world. From childhood until adulthood, Yefan never considered himself unfortunate. Unlike those tragic protagonists who suffered endless humiliation, he simply lived an ordinary life. He studied hard, worked hard, relied on his own abilities. And honestly, even without the system, he believed he could have succeeded eventually. He had confidence in himself. Confidence in his talent. In the original timeline, he even managed to obtain a decent position in a large company through his own abilities. Then he met Lu Ruyan. To him, a woman like her could only belong beside someone exceptional. Someone like himself. And slowly, he captured her heart. Then came the investment system. Even now, he still didn't understand where it came from. Or why it chose him. But none of that mattered. Because the moment the system appeared, he believed destiny itself had chosen him. He would dominate the world. Control the economy. Stand above everyone else. That was what he believed. But now, everything was collapsing. The system was suffering backlash. The land opportunity disappeared. The Lu family fell overnight. And somehow, every road eventually pointed toward one person. Qi Yun. Yafan's expression darkened. Even without evidence. He instinctively knew I was the cause of everything. The more he thought about it, the stronger that feeling became. Finally, his expression twisted slightly. If I survive this, I'll definitely take revenge. At that moment, a red screen suddenly appeared before him. Danger. Difficulty of main task increased. Final beginner assessment activated. Success, unlock higher system functions. Failure, host will be erased. Yafan's pupils shrank violently. Erased. For the first time, real fear appeared in his eyes. Then another notification appeared. Alternative option available. Unbind system. Return to ordinary life. Silence filled the room. For a brief second, Yafan hesitated. If he unbound the system now, he could still return to being normal. Still alive. Still free. Maybe even eventually successful through his own abilities. But the next moment, his eyes became bloodshot. How can I refuse? His voice became louder and louder. With this system, I can rule the world. The entire economy can fall into my hands. Obsession gradually filled his eyes. Then, without hesitation, he accepted the task. Ding. Host determination acknowledged. System providing final assistance. New information immediately flooded into his mind. The Tang family. A major development project. A hidden investment capable of multiplying wealth several times within the near future. Yafan's breathing became heavier. If he obtained this project, he could recover everything. But soon, another problem appeared. Money. He didn't have enough capital. Nor did he possess enough status to directly approach the Tang family. Then suddenly, another system notification appeared. Ding. Additional information granted due to extreme difficulty. Several confidential documents appeared before him. Yafan's eyes instantly narrowed. Corruption evidence. Related to the eldest son of the Tang family. The moment he saw it, his thoughts immediately began racing. A vicious plan quickly formed in his mind. I can cooperate with the eldest Tang brother first. Then expose him afterward. This way, I can gain favor from the Tang family. And maybe even gain the support of the Tang family's daughter. The more he thought about it, the more perfect the idea sounded. But soon, another issue appeared. His identity. With his current status, he couldn't even approach the Tang family's front door. Then suddenly, his eyes lit up. The Lu family. Although the Lu family was collapsing, they still possessed connections and status. If he used the corruption evidence to help them recover, then Lu Ruyan and her family would naturally become grateful toward him again. And through them, he could approach the Tang family. The more Yafan thought about it, the more he admired his own intelligence. Without wasting another second, He immediately rushed toward the Liu family. Of course. He wasn't stupid enough to directly admit he abandoned them earlier. Instead, he first found Liu Ruyan privately and handed over the evidence. Acting as though he had spent the entire time investigating ways to help her. As if he hadn't previously run away with his tail between his legs. Meanwhile, inside my villa, I quietly watched a screen with cold eyes. A live feed. From Yefan's apartment. Several days ago, I had already secretly arranged surveillance around his residence. After all, although I couldn't see his system interface, I could still observe his behavior. And honestly, watching him reveal his entire plan aloud inside his own house was almost funny. How careless. This man genuinely shouted his thoughts without worrying about anything. The system even gave him a chance to restart his life peacefully. Yet his greed completely consumed him. At this point, I no longer felt any need to show mercy. Still, as I watched Yefan's desperate expression, I felt a faint trace of sympathy. Not because I pitied him, but because I realized something. The so-called chosen protagonist could still be crushed, as long as you struck before he fully rose. I slowly leaned back against the sofa while sipping coffee calmly. Then I looked toward Yewudeo standing beside me. Prepare the car. My eyes slowly narrowed. It's time to end this.